Hey, folks, it's me. It's Scotty. It's Sunday, and we've got no audience yet because I just went live unannounced. So we'll give it a few minutes and let people stream in. And in the meantime, kind of give you a couple little updates as to what's going on. And I'm just trying to get my camera lined up because it's different here than for my radio show. And give me just a moment. For those of you who are just joining, there we go. I think I've got things lined up. And I try to keep fairly center. There we go. You're seeing the mundane as it's happening. So good morning. Good, happy Sunday morning. And we're going to go forward and do our typical, what's becoming typical Sunday morning show, our little live stream. Kind of augments the radio program because, as many of you know, when I do the radio, we have to fit into the format of the radio station. And so Sunday, I don't get as much time to do the things we used to do on the live stream, which is just kind of chat and talk and say hi and say good morning and all that other stuff. Now, this says it's unable to connect me to the chat. Please try again later. I don't know what that means. So, guys, if you can see me and hear me and you're able to talk, go ahead and say something in the YouTube, and we'll see what's going on. Say something in the channel. I'm sorry. Okay, we're just getting prepped. We're just good morning. It could be some more solid and professional and slick. Had I announced this and premiered this for Sunday morning release, then you'd know that I was going to be here. But as people start to filter in, I'm seeing no live stream. So I don't know what's up with that. And I'm sorry, I'm seeing no live chat. So it says there are no participants in live chat. That could be why. Maybe there's just nobody over there. So let's, I just want to see if I'm doing this right. I'm in my live channel. I see 8 people in the live channel, but I see nobody in chat yet. So let's see what the pop-out chat does for me. Oh, there we are. There's some of you in the pop-out chat. I don't know why it's doing it there and not somewhere else. So who we got? We got Airmid, Moonwater. Good to see you. You're here. Thanks for being here. I don't think I've ever seen you before, unless you've had a different nickname before. Audrey, good to see you. And Jessica and Delana. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. And Donna, good to see you all. Thanks for stopping by. And of course, as I mentioned, this is unannounced. You can just kind of keep in the back of your head, oh, Scotty's going to come on around 9 to 10 o'clock on Sunday mornings, Central Standard Time. So if you're around and you want to check it out, if you're on your computer, just swing on in and see if we're here. And good to see you, Donna. And glad to see all of you here. And this morning, I just want to get us kind of caught up for the week. One thing I miss about doing the live streams the way I used to do them was, now that I'm on radio officially, my show is formatted differently, and I don't get to see the chat room as I am doing a show live. And that's because most of the shows for the radio, I pre-record a couple of hours in advance, and then I release them, and I can go over into the chat room, but I'm not doing the show live and chatting. That's almost impossible to do unless you've got a producer that's on the side and helping you out. So, shared, says Audrey. All right, Patch, good to see you. You live, let's see, I've moved to the shadows. Well, that's good to know, Patch. So I don't know about all of you, but I always liked doing the live stream because I could talk to everybody, and I see you as you come in, and we talk and all of that. And now it's a little more formatted. So when I get the chance now, I get to do, so I started this Sunday morning thing. We can all get a chance to come on in and chat a little bit. So thanks for being here. Thanks for taking your time. Thanks for coming in. And over here, it's kind of snowy. We've got our snow in earnest now that it's December 1st. And we had little smatterings of it up here in the Minneapolis to western Wisconsin area over the last month, little dustings. Nothing ever stayed, and it stayed fairly warm. But now it's about 30 to 40 degrees outside, and we've got a good 8 inches of snow on the ground. I don't think it's snowing now, but I think it's supposed to a little bit more. Anyway, there's the mundane. There's the weather. So it's cold up here. It's snowy, and it's going to be this way for considerable number of weeks now. January is when we hit the dead of January is kind of the dead of winter for us. It's where we start hitting that 10 below zero Fahrenheit air temperatures, sometimes 20 below. We've had even more than that. And then you get the wind chill on top of it, so you can get 30 to 50 below, depending on the day. The nice thing is we're not in the Arctic Circle. So that usually only lasts a day or two. Might come again a week later or 2 weeks later. But then we start the thaw in February, which is nice. So we've got a good solid 2 months of this. Pensacola, Florida does not snow. You're lucky. So, but you do have the flip side. You've got hot and humidity. I don't like humidity. So I've got nothing I really wanted to talk about this morning in particular. I'm just blowing a little time to give people enough time to get in and see. So we've already lost 3 viewers. It's probably because I'm talking about the weather. So I'm going to do maybe a couple of tarot readings this morning, and just doing the one card readings, and that kind of whets your appetite a little bit. And let's see, you're in Janesville, Wisconsin. You got rain and 40s this week, but no snow. Hey, Delaney, by the way, how you doing? So yeah, share the show to your friends, please, folks. This isn't a formal show. This is just informal. We're here live and we're talking. And I got kids out there watching cartoons. And Rainy's probably still upstairs, not up and around. Maybe when she gets up, she'll come on in if we're still going. And so I want to smatter a few readings in and throughout this. So Delaney, you want to get a card? Why don't we do yours right away? Let's just jump into that. Now, I don't want to make the whole show about readings, but we'll do readings on these Sunday morning shows. I think maybe one of these days we'll do a full reading here for somebody so people can get an idea how that works. And so Delaney, let's see here. Let's do one for Delaney. And this is my deck. I use the Touchstone Tarot by Kat Black. She is out of, I'm almost tempted to go get one of my other decks, but I've already got this one in hand. This is the one I've been using for about 10, 11 years. And so let me shuffle this up. I like to shuffle 3 cards, and then we'll go ahead and get into it. And we'll talk a little bit about tarot, some other things. Delaney, I'm going to shuffle 3 times, and then we'll cut the deck. I would have you cut the deck if you were here. That kind of puts your hand on the cards. My belief is that something obviously governs the cards, the message in the cards. And so now I'm going to cut this for you on your behalf. And we'll do it that way. All right, there we go. Ready? I'm going to pull a card for you. You ready for this? Here we go. All right, Delaney, I've got the 9 of Cups. See the 9 of Cups? We just had this one the other day for somebody. And the 9 of Cups, now you know the meaning of the suit of cups. Cups has to do with your passions, the things that involve your relationships, your romances, your interpersonal relationships. So this is a card that's coming out of that. Now the 9 is kind of starting to get to the pinnacle, the higher numbered cards. Well, this is actually the highest numbered card in the suits. And then you start getting into your knight and your queen and your king and so on. And so this is the top card that you can get. Well, you might be able to get a 10. I don't think there is a 10. I think that's when you go right in. It's like a playing deck. Well, yeah, you do have a 10. You can get to the 10 of cups. Sorry, I'm thinking playing decks versus my tarot. But um, this is your 9. And that's pushing you to the top of this whole idea of the cups, which is something that has to do with your passions in life, romances, relationships, and so on. And this is a thing that says that kind of the source of your true happiness is your soul attaining a peaceful balance. If you look at this, he's got all these cups, and where in some of the other varied cards, the cups are tipped over, or there's 2 over here and 1 here, and there's all these different things with the cups. And it's leading about finding happiness is what this is all about, in the things that are your passionate drives in life. Now, I talk about the wands as being the things that your emotional makeup, the stuff where you look in the mirror and go, God damn it, it's good to be alive today, and I'm going to go to work and do my thing. And, it's the powerful fire energy. Now, the cups is kind of the water energy, the emotional energy that's beneath everything. The passions we have that drive us to do things. And this is pretty much telling you that the efforts that you've really spent your life, at least in the current, these things that you've been spending yourself on, investing yourself in, will bring reward, but if you stay strong and you keep working at it, is the idea. So this here is telling you that you're reaching that pinnacle of making things happy for you. Now, I know a lot of people that work and work and work and work, but it's not really bringing them that happiness that they want. It's not something that they're using to strive for contentedness in life. And by the way, keep in mind, when it comes to material things, you got to look for contentedness. Now, that doesn't mean we don't have problems that seep in and come in the way and all of that. Like right now, my family, we're in financial tense times right now, but that's the nature of what I do. It's been that way almost my whole life. Well, at least since I've been working for myself, which is now 18 years. You got a roller coaster ride. Sometimes that roller coaster bites you in the ass. Other times it's got you on cloud 9. This is one that says whatever your situation is, you should be pretty much pushing that cloud 9 category, that things are working well. And it says you're emotional in the very present. It's all about how your emotional and your material well-being are what's at the forefront in this. You look to your friends for advice and support, but you recognize that you are the one that has to drive the fulfillment, the contentment, the making things work the way you want them to. And the goal that you've set for yourself is kind of down the road a ways. You're still striving for it, but stay true to the things that you desire, the things that are the goals you're setting for yourself, and you're going to reach the destination. And this is balance your heart and mind toward your true calling. And so I see this is that card that to me kind of epitomizes the whole moniker I have for life, or mantra with Mark Twain, where he says 20 years from now, you'll regret more of the things you didn't do than the things you did do. So this is all about finding the time to make the things you want to do happen now, so you don't get 20 years down the road say, I wish I'd have done that thing. And I've said that many, many times because I think this comes up for a lot of people, that very issue. And it's really kind of epitomized in this card for you, is that why put off the things you want to do and the things you're trying to achieve? Don't put them off. I know there are times where we go, I got to go into this mode. I got to save enough money to do this thing, or I got to do that thing, or I got to prep myself for it. This is saying you've already put that time in. Now make it happen. Make it work. So there you go, Delaney. That's what I see in your card right now for today. And you know what that is? when you do a one card reading like this is probably not your whole life epitomized in a card at 9:45 a.m. Central Standard Time on a Sunday. It might just mean this is what is your whole life at this moment. This is epitomizing this one thing out of your existence and saying this is what you should focus on. So there you go. I hope that's helpful. Hope that means something. I tend to, because we have a larger audience here, I'll read your card, but I like to also give a general message to everybody else about some of these things that we do. And so this is a thing of saying, do what you need to do. Keep doing what you're doing. It's going to get better. You're not there yet, but you're almost at that pinnacle. And so everybody else, we've all got our own things like that as well. So, oh, there we go. Oh, I got a message from Audrey that says, you're live. We can see and hear you. We are chatting. For some reason, my live stream wasn't picking up my my chat. It says unable to connect to the chat right now. I'm not sure why it's doing that. It's still telling me that. So, so I just put it in the a separate window, a pop-out chat. There you go. So now I can see you, but it's in a different window. So I got to keep switching back and forth. Good morning, Yeoman. How you doing? Good to see you this morning. You're working, but just popped in. Thumbs up to the captain. Say hi to you all. Thank you very much, Jennifer. Good to see you. Barry, how you doing? And good to have you in here this morning. North Seafarer, how you doing? North Seafarer. I don't know if that's the right accent. That's Pirate Seafarer, I suppose. But how are things amidships this morning? So let's see. I'm not going to do a whole morning of readings, but we'll do a few more of these this morning. I want to thank you all for coming in here. It takes a few minutes to get the word out and for people to notice that there's a live stream. Now, if you haven't already, I suppose you wouldn't be here if you hadn't, because you wouldn't have an announcement for it unless you have other people messaging you. But if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel. And if you're subscribed, make sure you click on the little bell symbol that is next to the subscribe button. That will give you announcements for when I come live. Now, if I go live, it usually takes a couple of minutes to disseminate for the system to get that message out. So I'll generally chat banal talk, nothing talk, weather talk, just to try to give people time to get signed in here and to take a look. Excuse me. And so I want to thank all of you for taking your time. Blah. Nice to see you, if that's how you pronounce your name. Blah. So I've got children wandering in and out of the room. There's my little child dragging the blanket all the way in over here. You want to come up here? Say hi. This is Ellery. Oh, hang on to that blanket. Whoa. There she is. There's Ellery. Say good morning. Look up there at the little green dot and say hi. So this is Ellery. She's going to be, tomorrow, she's going to be 5 years old. So how's it feel being a 4-year-old going on 5? Do you like the fact that you have a birthday tomorrow? Yeah? Okay. I'm going to give you a kiss and put you down. Yeah. Yeah, if you're just going to sit there and make noise. So let's see. She's a doll. Yeah, she's a little harried looking this morning. You know what it's like when your only decisions are, am I going to drink juice or milk while I watch my cartoons? So there you go. Everybody's saying hi to you over there. Happy birthday. I'm put you down. Okay. Daddy? Then my other daughter, 8-year-old, is over there on Mom's computer. Did you ask Mom's permission? Yes. She said okay. Hello? Did you ask Mom's permission? Yes. Did she say okay? Silence. Okay. Just when Mom gets down here, keep in mind, she's going to come down. So, yeah, Hetrick. S. Hetrick. Can't remember your name now. I think you told me once before, but Stephanie? Miss having only that decision. Yeah, that'd be nice. It'd be nice if we could get up in the morning and not worry about how we're keeping the lights on or how we're keeping the roof over our head, but to say, Captain Crunch or Fruit Loops? Or shall I have mom and dad cook for me? Which we normally do. We do eggs and pancakes yesterday. So, all right. So the peanut gallery over there is going to continue to make noise. So we'll just keep going. Audrey says hi to you. What? No, thank you. You stay over there. Mind your own business. All right. Let's see. Mums. Not sure what you're saying there, Jennifer. All right. So, again, here we are. It's Sunday morning. Why don't you just put on your calendars, your mental calendars, back of your mind, roughly around 9 o'clock in the morning, Central Time. We'll start on Sunday. I was making coffee at 9 o'clock, so I didn't even get here till like a half an hour ago. And believe it or not, we've been talking a half an hour already. So I've got lots of things on my mind, lots of things we could talk about. One of the things that seems really prevalent to me today, it's my own issue, it's my wife's issue, it's everybody I know has this to one extent or the other, and that is that. And it's appropriate, Delaney, that you got that card. It's that striving for what makes us happy. And sometimes, and I've said this many times before, they say that money doesn't buy happiness. There's a universal truth to that. But I think that's a watered down form of the statement because, money can buy you happiness. It can buy you happy things. It can buy you being financially secure can make you happy. How do you get financially secure? Money's good. Material things. And I've said many times, the lack of money can sure buy you a hell of a lot of unhappiness. Hey, guys, I'm going to have you go out and I'll shut the door. If you guys are going to yell, make noise. It's very distracting. All right. If you got something to say to your sister, go out there, Ro. All right. And so, there, it's going to go on all morning. Hang on a second. Mom is in the shower. There you go. Little slice of being here in the real and the here and the now. So live scintillating. It's not really radio. It's just live streaming. So that's nice to hear. Thank you, Steph. I appreciate that. So Electra, how you doing? Good to see you. So, I see what you're saying, Jennifer. Yeah. The silence on something could be the tacit permission, or at least what I can apologize for later if I'm wrong. So this whole thing about happiness with money, we all need it. We all need money. We all work. We all try to find ways to have revenue flowing in the door. We all like to keep our coffers filled. December, for a lot of people, tends to be the month where we start draining our coffers because we're worried about Christmas and getting the right gifts and doing all of those things. I can tell you what now. I put out money a while back for Christmas presents that nobody knows about yet. But had I waited till now, I'd be using that money for other things that are more important. And we all have that aspect of what's going on as well. So, hey, hold on just a second. Hey, Rainey, I'm on live stream on radio. So I always have to say that so she doesn't start yelling and swearing or something at me. Come and say hi. Here's Rainey, fresh out of the shower.
I asked Daddy to be a sheep. He won't be a sheep.
Yeah, you be quiet over there. Is she allowed on that this morning?
She's allowed on that this morning. I told her.
There you go.
Daddy told you.
Audrey says hi already.
Hi, Audrey.
Let's see what else we got going on in here. So I'm in the middle of talking about things like that. There's Rainey.
Here, I'll come over. Hi.
Wet hair, no makeup,
No makeup.
bright lights. So
I'm
You
back
smell
there.
good.
But thanks. That's my shampoo and smell.
Nice.
Mom,
But
So there you go. Let's see. Yeah. Hi, Rainey. Says, I think it's Steph. I'm sure it's Steph.
hi, Steph.
And Jennifer Roberts says hello. She's my other wife.
Jennifer.
She's my other wife, Roberts.
I figured.
So I thought I had to reveal that pretty soon.
Yeah, we're good.
And Rainey's good with that.
No,
So there you go.
you have to get dressed
Electra
up.
says hi.
Hi, Electra.
So, all right. As you can see, this is a show about nothing. We're doing some tarot readings. We're doing some talk.
it's about cards.
Queen Rainey, says Delaney.
Hi, Delaney.
Hi, Delaney. She yells back down the hall.
I was queen. My coffee would have been made already.
Oh, there it is. Indictment.
She makes me make her.
She said if she was the queen, her coffee would already have been made for her.
Daddy, Mom makes.
I would have made it, but I didn't know when you were going to be up. So it would be cold now if I had made it when I made mine. She drinks a different kind. I drink rocket fuel. She drinks decaf. So there you go.
Daddy.
Not right now, baby. So cat's out of the bag. There you go, Jennifer. All right. Anybody want another reading? I've got some other things to say, but I'm doing these one card. Oh, somebody asked earlier. I didn't recognize your name. I wasn't sure if I'd seen you in here before. Ahmed, is it? Armid. Is that how you pronounce it? Moonwater? You had asked if we could do a reading. So let's, and then Steph, I can get to you as well. So Armid, I think is the way you're pronouncing it. If you're still around, let's do one for you. And don't give me too many requests here right now because I'm not going to see them. Wait till I'll ask for them and then you can start again. Otherwise, I got to constantly scroll back through the message to say who said they wanted one. So hang on, folks, and we'll get there. Okay, I'm going to shuffle up for Armid, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Blah says me. All right, I'm not writing any names down, so just hang on a few minutes, and I'll ask again if you're still around, if you want a reading, and we'll do it. But I see most of you who are kind of out there asking, but my remembering your name a few minutes down the road will be the trick. All right. All right, Armid, Moonwater, front and center. If you're there, let me know you're still there. We're going to do this reading for you. I think it was Moonwater. I'm looking for your name. See, this is what happens when I got to scroll back. So, yeah, Armid, Airmid. I'm pronouncing that Armid. Armid Moonwater. You're on deck. So if you're still there, acknowledge me in the chat room and let's roll. All right. But I've got you all shuffled up. If you were here, I would have you cut the deck. So I'm going to do that for you. Just like this. And we'll take the top card right off the deck. All right, Armid, here we go. Mr. or Ms. Moonwater. Not sure what kind of name, what gender Armid is. All right, here you go. You ready? Death. You get the death card. Now, everybody, as well as Armid, don't be alarmed when you see the death card. It's not and those of you who know tarot know this, it's not oh my God, I'm going to die, or there's going to be death around me, or death is coming for me. No, that's not what this card means. The death card is all about transition. It's all about change. It's right, Delana Kennard. Delana, I want to pronounce that. It is. It's all about change. It's all about things changing up in your life. It's all about a threshold. You're on the threshold of an open door that you have to walk through. There is no option here. When death comes, it generally doesn't bargain with you. Death comes and changes things dramatically for us. changes those around us, changes everything that's going on in life. And so the death card has to do with sometimes cataclysmic change, sometimes just major change going on. And so death is a portal to another life. It's a doorway. And you're at that doorway. And so now when you get this card as something that's epitomizing a snapshot of where you are today, this is a card that's saying be prepared for major change. You may already be going through it. You've moved into a new phase of life. All things change with time, and your path through life is no different. And a major event of some kind, this card is saying, if we get down to the nitty and gritty, major events coming your way. It's approaching. It may have already hit you. You're going to lose something valuable in death. Something valuable is lost, be it life, be it the life of someone else around you. The things we value and cherish, it's changing. And death is going to be the most blatant way that the universe is telling you something's changing dramatically for you. So you're going to lose something that's valuable. And to move forward, you have to really start developing a new perspective on the world. The past is now behind. You can't change it. The rest of your life is still ahead. So you have to continue on with the journey. So it's like, I've liked to use this card when I talk about, or an example when I talk about death. It's like, and you may have heard me say this before, folks. It's like many of us are interested in the paranormal, interested in paranormal activity, paranormal research, paranormal investigation, ghost hunting, some might call it, on a lighter side of things. And one thing that we have encountered at times, when we encounter something that's there and it's asking for help or it's trapped or something, one, it's either fake, meaning something out there is just trying to get your attention and it's using catchphrases that capture people's attention. The other thing is it might be somebody who's literally stuck. The spirit that's stuck. It's they either didn't know they died, death came suddenly, and there they are. They don't know where to go. They don't know where they are. That's why we have little kids asking, "Are you my mom? Where's my mom?" Things like that. Sometimes we found out that's just fake. Somebody's trying to trick you. But I think the trapped spirit is the one that doesn't realize it's died, doesn't realize the death has come, doesn't want to accept that. And so it becomes trapped. And this is what we can do in life. So the death card is telling you, realize it's there. It's on top of you. Things are changing. And you don't have any choice in it. And if you don't want to get trapped in that limbo of not moving forward and not being able to recover the past, like a ghost, you'll become a ghost in life. So you have to accept it, move on, move through it, move into it. So a big change for you, Airman and Moonwater. And I don't know where you went. I haven't seen you here since you asked. So I have no idea if you got that message or not, but there you are. I see my wife is lurking. Come here. She's got makeup on now. Come here and look. Come here, beautiful.
I don't think you have makeup on. It doesn't look like it.
She just did her eye stuff.
Did my eye stuff.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Ooh, this,
Oh,
how
what
do you
a-
stand, how do you stand the bright?
I can
like
see on
that.
the bright seat.
It's my beautiful wife.
Rowan's over
Still
here.
waking up. Rowan's down here, my 8-year-old. So it's a family affair. I don't close the door on Sunday morning. You know, you get to catch the ambiance of the household here. And
Yeah.
sometimes if you're lucky like me, you get to catch your wife in the shower. No, you'll never see that on the live stream.
Yeah, no. That's a different live stream now.
That's a totally different. Yeah, that's over at
Go put
Rainy
your computer up. Someone's taking a break.
bombchickabow.com.
Yeah. I can't even see. Oh,
She can't even see in the light.
yeah.
So,
I'm going away. I'm going away.
all right.
Can't handle the
I got to get one of, that's what I want for Christmas. One of those round spotlight things like Rocky has.
I want
Makeup
a
mirror?
disco ball.
No, it's not a makeup mirror.
I want a disco ball.
So let's see, Delaney, what you got going on? I see stuff that Delaney talks about quite a bit, and we don't have a chance to respond to it because we're doing radio. But Ray, you said that people don't want to get their nails done because of what you see, Delaney. You got to tell us about that one a little bit. And this year you're going full on Yule time. You're gonna go back to your Irish roots. So you're gonna get the big Yule log and burn that and stay up all night and watch it. That would be fun. I do that here. We don't have a fireplace, so we got to do it right in the living room floor. So let's see. You're thinking about calling your local paranormal investigators to your house, but Delaney says with a cliffhanger, my ghosts and aliens don't torment me, but they party with me. Well, that's a good thing to do with your ghosts, I guess. Party with them. You know, sometimes you'll find they're just spirits that are there, and they do interact with you, which is very interesting. I don't know if all of you heard this when we were talking about it a couple of weeks ago, but Rocky and Rainey and I and a friend of ours, Rebel, we all went and did the little old barber shop here in town, in my small town in Wisconsin. And his building was built in 1859, pre-Civil War. And he told me, while cutting my hair a few weeks ago, that, I'm a hippie. This is what my hair looks like, or it just doesn't grow anymore. So he told me that he hadn't been in his basement for 20 years. And then he amended it, and then he told me it was, maybe 10 years ago, I had to let somebody in. When we got there, he told everybody, it's been 5 years since I've been in the basement. So in essence, what I got from him was that over the 20 years, and he's been in that building since 76. So he's been there for 43 years doing the same thing in that building. I just take it that he just doesn't go down there, and he only goes down when he has to, which is very rare. But we didn't get much activity there. We got a hello in the basement and a little bit of a chat. If you saw the videos, you got to see Rocky crawling into the little crawl space and Rainey throwing a fake cockroach at him, and he just about jumped out of his shit when she did that. That was funny. But when we were upstairs, he's got a barber chair there that was brand new. He said right around 1960. And it was there in the shop when he bought the shop. And so we put a little device, a light device that shows if something is picking up static energy. And that would go off in the chair, and it went off in the basement as well. And the basement, by the way, dirt floor, old field stone walls. So it's still in that condition down there in the basement. But in the barber chair, so Rainey was standing here. Here's what I'm getting at. And Sarah, Jennifer says, there was a Sarah that tried to get through, wasn't there? Or was that you when you were watching the videos, Jennifer, that suggested that? Can't remember. There was a woman. Sarah lit up the thing. Yeah, the static energy box. And I think she said the name Sarah, or somebody suggested that it was a Sarah. Can't remember which that was. But there was one point where Rainey was standing there. We're looking at the barber chair. We got the spirit box going and the little static energy machine. And she asks for somebody for initials W-O. She says, is there a W-O here? And a few seconds pause, and you hear a male voice say, how you doing? And we all started laughing. This is in responding to what somebody said about, Delaney said about your ghosts interact with you. We felt that was either something genuine, it's the way he talked, or it was somebody using vernacular. It was somebody looking at Rainey, how you doing? So it was pretty cool. And we all kind of laughed about it, and we said, yeah, if you can hear us, we got to agree with you, Rocky. Now we're like, yeah, how you doing, Rainey? So there you go. Woohoo, sexy Rainey, says Audrey. Now, right on. And Audrey, there was a time when we were out at the festival, and Audrey was up here back for the Phantom's Feast. That we did the paranormal investigation there, and the box called out to Audrey by name. Audrey, it said, while we were at the pavilion stage out there. So you get those interactivities sometimes. It's very interesting. Now, by the way, and it's fresh in my mind, go check out, if you've got Amazon, go check out a series. They're in their second season now. It's a series called Hellier, Hellier. Here, I'll type it in the chat room. Hellier. And they just started second season, and people are gobbling that up. If you hadn't seen that before, that series, go look at it. It's done very beautifully, documentary style filming.
Except for the music.
Rainey doesn't like the music because they got this like one note that sounds shrill that they just hit, and they just let it go through the whole background.
It's that.
Drives her nuts. And
I can't barely watch.
At one point, I thought, is that equipment in the background? But then it'd still be there from scene to scene. So they have this, and it's very low, but your ear can detect it. Rainey doesn't like that about it. I didn't find it overtly distracting, but I noticed it. And so they are examining these stories of beings. Now, you've all heard, maybe you haven't, of elementals, and I've heard this before. I know of other people in upstate New York who have had elementals, so like little people that they will see out of the corners of their eyes. And this is some very reliable people. If you know who John Zaffis is, he had a television show for a couple of years, The Haunted Collector. He's got that museum of things that he's collected, haunted things and so on, over the 40 years he's been doing this. He is the nephew of Ed and Lorraine Warren, who were the first two investigators into the original Amityville house thing. And now he has been in the paranormal ever since then. And he was telling me a story, about 10 years ago, about elementals that they found at a place where they were there to investigate, and they were outside, and they could hear them, they could see them and perceive them. They would throw things at them and things like that. And the stories that they're getting from Hellier is in Kentucky, Hellier, Kentucky. And it's a little town where there was somebody who had written in to the people who do this show. Fairies, Delana says. Exactly. This is the thing that ties into the elementals, the fairy element, the fae in Ireland, and the Celtic mythologies. And this has something to do with the things that are here that are bound to the earth. If any of you have heard of Adam Bly, a friend of mine, I've mentioned him a couple of times, very much into Roman Catholicism, exorcism, things like that. He's a guy, for his credibility points, a guy that the Vatican flies in to talk to bishops and everybody about exorcism. So he knows his stuff. He's worked with John Zaffis a lot. And he said, according to Roman Catholic theology, elementals are the spirit beings who were too good for hell, too bad for heaven, in the wars in heaven that were like prehistory, when God cast down the angels down to the earth. And it was the elementals who were the ones that were neutral. It's like they didn't stand against God in these wars, and they weren't with Satan. So it all depends on what you believe about that. It's Roman Catholic mythology, but this is Adams says that's the RCC's explanation for elementals, that they were the spirits that were earthbound because they took a neutral stance. God just cast them down to the earth. You didn't stand with me, you're gone. But he didn't condemn them either. And so this is what some people think they are. And some of the accounts, the drawings that people will do, they tend to look a lot like what you might think of as an ET, as an alien. When you've seen, like on the cover of Whitley Strieber's book, Communion, you would see the face, with the big black eyes and so on. It's a variation on that theme, but they're very small. And so you've got to go take a look and at this series, because they're examining this thing. The first season, 5 episodes. It was a test run. Then they got a second season. There's 10 episodes that are up so far. So you go binge watch that and you'll get an idea what that's about. And it's some people that I know. One of them is Greg Newkirk. He and his wife Dana, they have a little traveling museum that's a lot like what John Zaffis does with collecting haunted things. They'll go to the different shows that are out there and the conventions and stuff like that. And they've been into many other things, the ghost hunting, the Bigfoot hunting, all these things kind of under the umbrella of pan paranormal, all these unexplainable things. And there's also Carl Pfeiffer, who I knew when I was back with the Ghost Hunters. And I believe he was on Ghost Hunters International. I don't want to misquote me on that. I think that's the show he was on for a season and or two. And he worked at the Stanley Hotel over sometime few years back when they were still doing the haunted tours and things like that. He actually worked for the hotel. And he's a writer, an author, and he's part of the producing this show. And so the name of the series is Hellier, Helllier, Hellier. And so go look it up. That's kind of strong in the back of my mind this morning, because it's the things that it's a little different than ghost hunting, where you might be trying to conjure something to talk to you, look if something's there. These are things that many people have given reports on for many years. And they can be terrifying. They can be just there. And so they're trying to look into this and find out what this thing is all about. And interesting stories about elementals. And that's actually a book I want to write. I have 2 books ahead of this one. I'm trying to finish my fictional novel, The 10 Breaths of Ra. And then I'm working on finishing up, prepping to do a book on the Book of Enoch for my publisher, who also published my book on the Nephilim, my book on the reptilians, and John Ward's in my book on the Exodus. And you're hearing my little girl do her little mini temper tantrums out there, not getting what she wants. That's what you're hearing. It's not a child slaughter, believe it or not. Audrey, we haven't had a chance to clean up recordings, so Rocky's listened to a few. And that's the hard part. Going out there and doing it is one thing. Taking hours upon hours to clean things up, to find out what you're getting. We've listened through, and Rocky's heard a few things. He has all the recordings. Otherwise, I could do some of that here. So there's some interesting stuff out there. And by the way, you see Audrey is mentioning Pikes Island. Remember, if you listen to the radio show, I did a series a couple of months back on Native American concentration camp that was at local Fort Snelling here back in the 1860s. And we went to the site of that. Audrey was with us. That's when she was up here. And we got all kinds of voices out. That's all we did. We brought a spirit box. We had our psychic friend, paranormal Sarah, was here, Sarah Soderland. And one of the most profound things we caught on that spirit box is we're standing in the woods, and on the site where the concentration camp was, where over 300 men, women, and children died the winter of 1862 from deprivation and starvation and the elements. And I asked the question, I said, is there any message you would like us to bring back? What would you like us to say? What message do you have for us? And a strong male voice came out of the box and said, remember us. It's like, that's very profound to me. So, yeah, a lot of this kind of stuff. And there's a lot more that we were picking up. I don't think we recorded quite as much. We did some video at that one, Audrey. So we'd have to go through the video and see what we could find, run it through some strainers, if you will, to pull out the sound. So there's my recommendation, Hellier. Now, if anybody else would like a one-card reading, I think there were a couple of others of you. I think Steph, S. Hedrick, And I believe you're Steph, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think you've corrected me on that one yet. So, S. Hetrick, if you're up there and you're around, let's, there you are. Let's do your card. I'm going to shuffle 3 times for you, and then we'll dig into it. All right. One of these days, I'll try one of my other decks. I used to use the Golden Tarot a lot, but this is the one I've used for about 10 years, pretty faithfully. The Touchstone Tarot by Cat Black. Cat with a K. She's out of New Zealand. All right, here we go. Now, Steph, if you were here, I'd have you cut the deck. Instead, I'm doing that for you. And we'll go with this, just like this. All right. Let's do a reading for Steph. 1 card. Now, this is a snapshot of where you are at the moment. It could change completely tomorrow or a few days down the road. It might have been something different a week ago. This is where you are right now. All right. It's the 2 of Swords. Now, if you see this, the 2 of Swords, shut that door, please. Ellery's out there. Okay, we got somebody's in the garage, and they let all the cold air into the house by letting the door stand open. So you use the Tarot of the Spirit, says S. Hetrick, so you know what cards are about. So you got the 2 of Swords. Now, Swords is that suit of conflict. It's the conflict you... Okay, hang on. I'm going to shut my door because my children are being naughty and screaming, so I'm going to shut my door. All right. By the way, when you hear that kind of screaming at my house, it's never anybody is in turmoil. It's all spoiled, rotten, I'm throwing a temper tantrum type of stuff. And that's usually the little one, the 4-year-old, who's going to be 5 tomorrow. So I told her, you got to start growing out of that, child. You don't always get what you want. I said, I'm not a multimillionaire. You don't see me on the floor kicking my legs and screaming because it hasn't happened yet. So, there it is. Yep, normal. All right. So the Swords is the suit. Sorry about that little interruption, Steph. Swords is the suit of conflict. It's conflict you give, conflict you get. And this is all about conflict. It's kind of conflict, of interests. It's all about being indecisive. You got 2 swords, so you got it's trying to represent that you've got 2 paths you could follow on something, and it's a difficult choice that you've got, and it's not going to be easy either way. It's either one of 2 things. It's something very pleasing on both sides, or it's something kind of crappy on both sides, and so you've got to make a choice, and it's the idea of having conflicting paths and being honest about your past and the things that brought you into whatever this current situation is what's going to make it a difficult choice. It's whether you're honest about what brought you there, where you're honest about how to get out of things. One of the most bullshit answers that exists in the world today that exists in the world today, one of the most bullshit answers is, I don't know. Because that's bullshit. Because we all know. We all know what we want. We all know where we want to go, what we want to do. And I don't know is usually the excuse for not having to spell it out or not having the discipline to figure out what you want to do. So the conflict that you've been experiencing is going to be resolved by some new approach. You can't stay in the indecisive. Whatever this is, whatever's led you here, don't use the bullshit answer. I don't know what to do next. Poor me. It's the idea of saying, I do know what to do next. If I apply what I know, if I apply my smarts, my intelligence, my wisdom, my intuition, you're going to know what to do. And this is a conflict in the very present that's going to lock up your energies in the energy it takes to resolve it. And so by overcoming indecision, you take a deliberate action to decide what your resolution is going to be. And that's the whole thing with this too. You're locked in indecision right here. But the way out of indecision is making a decision. You just do, you go. And it's not always easy, but sometimes you just got to not blindly, but you just have to go, okay, here we go. And you just go and you do. And you have to make those kinds of decisions. And the difficult situations that are going to lay ahead for you have to be overcome now, immediately. So don't delay or hesitate about your decisiveness. This is about being the best, bringing about the best possible ending by acting honestly and honorable with honorable intentions. So this is what you're stuck in right now, Steph. I don't know what the situation is. It doesn't tell me. But because it's swords, it can be things to do with conflict you're getting, conflict you're giving, conflict you're in the middle of, hard decisions that have to be made, and you're kind of stuck. And so you said, in a way, you're saying, rather than make the decision, I'm just going to stand still for a minute. And this is telling you, boom, make the decision. Doesn't matter which one. You just have to make one and get out of the stalemate. All right? Makes sense? Hope that's helpful. Let's see. And yeah, you're right about that, Delaney. A very take the lead kind of kid. She thinks she's the boss. So sometimes she ends up being the boss on a practical basis because we give into it because we don't want to hear the crap. And then we realize, you know what? We can't keep doing that with her. So so there you go, Delana. Yeah, go with the heart, Delana says. Confirmation says Steph. Very good. Good to know. All right. So right now, well, we've been going, about an hour. And I think I'm going to kind of bring this to a wrap and close it up. I hope there's been some good information that we've disseminated today. It's good for you. And you know, when I look to stuff and I say stuff, it's not because I think I know things. It's because I know enough to know I got to apply that to myself. And maybe it's also going to work for you too. So do you please, Julotica. Okay, before we go, we'll do one more. I'll do Julotica, and that's it for today, folks. Stick around, listen to how this goes. And next time, in one of the extensions this week, after the radio show, we'll do live at least once this week. And then we go. So, you know what? Blah had asked for one too earlier. We'll do one for you too. So I see, if you say it earlier, I might miss it. But now that you remind me, so last two. All right, Gelotica and Blah. All right, Blah, if you have a name, you can give it here unless you want to keep that private. I'll just keep referring to you as Blah if you don't have a name that you want to give publicly. Okay, this one is for Gelotica. Jewel. I don't know if that comes from Julia or Jules or Julie, but let's get you shuffled up here. I'm Scotty, by the way. So let me cut the deck. If you were here, I'd have you do that, Jewel. And take it just like that. All right, we are restacked. Let's take it right off the top. Gelotica, you got the 7 of Cups. See that? Shows a woman. She's holding up a sheet which has all kinds of different things on it. It's kind of symbolic here. And what this is representing is she's got all this stuff spread out on one sheet. And the 7 of Cups, again, Cups has to do with passions, has to do with your romances, your relationships, all of that kind of stuff. And when it shows this in the 7, where she's got all these things that are scattered over a sheet that she's holding up, it's the idea that you've got a ton of options in front of you. Now, it might not always feel like you have options, But this is the thing, if you look at the sheet that's spread in front of you and you look at all the things out on, you go, well, that's an option. Okay, that's an option too. And so is that, and that. So this is something that's telling you you've got options to move forward. Yes, Jessica, please do. Please email me. Sorry about that little interlude there, folks. I just happened to see the question, and I'm just going to type in my email, and I think that got in there, right? I think I typed that without screwing it up. There you go, Jessica. And so, Jules, what this is talking about is that whatever is going on in your life right now, this might not epitomize the whole big bluster of life. It might be just this moment in time. You got something that's going on where you've got to exercise an option. And it's not so much a card of indecisiveness. It's about saying, recognize that you have options and places that you can move. Sometimes we think we're caught in the middle of something. We really aren't if we look at all the options. You've got a lot of time and you've lost a lot of time chasing conflicting interests in your life. Don't be misled by your daydreams, by your fantasies. Pick a practical goal and start working it, is the idea with this. So you might have been involved in things that, not to be discouraging about what you're pursuing, but saying maybe you've spent a lot of time doing things that just don't work for you. And so you've got to pursue a different goal. So maybe you got a small business making jelly on your stovetop, and you're finding out I'm making about $16 a month making jelly. Maybe there's a different option. Maybe I should be, I don't know, blowing glass and making the jars to put jelly in. Who knows? I'm using those as absurd examples, silly examples, to say there might be things that you're engaged in where you go, maybe I should engage in something else. And the idea with this was showing that you've got options. It's saying, yeah, they might be really surprised that there's something coming down. There's a reward that's usual mental and creative activities involved in it. This is saying you're going to be rewarded by these new ideas by going, hey, there's an option. And if I do that, I can do this. And all of a sudden, things open up in a different direction. Now, it's not always about material things, job, money, revenue streams, things like that. This is about a lot of other things. It's in the cups. It's about your passions. Could be about your relationship. This might be saying, hey, if you're stuck in something that's stupid, get out of it because you got other options. And once you realize I can step away from this, perhaps the options open up even more. Now, that's not saying you throw away things that ought not to be thrown away. Sometimes the option is finding a way to make a thing work better. Sometimes it's stepping out of it completely. So if this has to do with relationship, which the cups tend to say it's your passions, lends itself to romances, lends itself to relationship, it might be something that's focused around that. You got more than one option here, is the idea. And the inability to decide on which option to go, it's going to just slow you down. You're going to be done. Being open to change is going to help you, but it's also this constant effort to determine what's true is going to keep you moving forward. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with where you need to be. Be honest about the consequences of the actions you take. Be conscious and honest with yourself about what's a real option for you in this and what's a false red flag, and not a red flag, a false flag out there that say, hey, I could do this, and where it's really not reality. So be honest with yourself. Be real about what you're doing is the other thing. And so this is all about looking at the options you have over whatever is going on in your life right now. The only indicator of what I have for that is the fact that the card falls into your passionate things, your relationships, your romances, and stuff like that. So hopefully, Steph, that's helpful for you. S. Hetrick. I hope that works. I hope it means something and that you understand what it's getting at. All right. And as promised, I'm going to do blah. So you're welcome, Jewel. Oh, wait, that was Jewel, not Steph. Sorry about that. See, I'm looking back at my chat room. That wasn't for S. Hetrick. S. Hetrick we did before. This one was for Jewel. Sorry about that. So, I hope that was clear. This was for Jewel. All right. Now I'm going to move on to blah. And this will be the last reading I do today. And so blah, are those your initials? Or is it a mood moniker? This is who I am, blah. Your kids have calmed down. That's good. All right. You immediately sound like you're female when you say that. Most guys don't go, well, I got my kids and they're finally calmed down, so I got time. It's usually the woman who says, I got 2 minutes now because I'm not being harangued as a mom. So here we go. Zunaira, is that your name? Nice name. It's kind of beautiful. Very artistic, melodic. That's the word I was looking for. Okay, now if you were here, I would have you cut the deck. Doing that on your behalf right now. Here we go. All right, Zunaira. Zunaira or Zunara, however you pronounce that. Blah in the vernacular. Here we go. Here's your card. High Priestess. Now, High Priestess card, this is out of the Major Arcana. And the High Priestess card is that card that represents, at least for me, it has always represented the epitome of the female intuitive. It's the idea that you've got the knowledge to see a little deeper, to express your intuition. Many times I found that this card, it has every card. I don't read strict negatives like upside down, reversed, or right side up. I just pull the card off and I read them. And even when I do full readings, I just lay them all upright because I believe every card has its inherent positive and negative. All the positives about the High Priestess card are that she represents for you the attaining of wisdom, the attaining of being able to discern things, to break things down. She's got these books and scrolls she holds in her hands. And it's that she can open up and dig deep and find the hidden mysteries to things. At the same time, the negative side of this card is one that says there might be something that is being hidden from you. You're very present. There might be something where you don't know all the details. And somebody is deliberately keeping something from you. Many times, in really the nuts and bolts form of this card, the negative side of it meant adultery. It meant somebody was cheating on you. Somebody that was close to you. It would be like adultery, like a husband or a wife. And this card would come up to say there's something being hidden from you. That's the nature of the hidden. It's deep, it's hurting, it's stinging. And somebody's trying to keep that from you. And so the uncovering of things might not be just to gain more wisdom and more insight. It might be to gain those things to understand that something's being kept from you. So now you've been in need of new experiences. And you may wander somewhere outside your comfort zone to find those things. And if you're lacking support in important areas of your life, you have to consider the area of investing, this idea of investing your time in new people, new ideas. You're entering a time of renewal, but you have to see if you need the help of somebody else to help you do that, to uncover the hidden things, to be able to move positively into something that's better for you. Let's detach it from the negative aspect of the card for a minute. Sometimes it's nothing's being hidden other than what's hidden from you is how to move forward in your life, where to go next. And you need to dig in deep. You need to become the High Priestess, the one who uncovers the things. There's this undiscovered and possibly even repressed creative abilities that you have that are demanding to be expressed in your life. And so finding a spiritual guide is going to help you. That helps you realize your full potential, your psychic or your artistic abilities. In order to get what you need, what you desire, that thing that's missing, that thing you're trying to uncover and find, you're going to need to overcome your fear of commitment to it. So there are some people that fear commitment, and so therefore they drift around, never knowing where they should be. And so the high priestess is telling you you're on a course to receive rare, valuable, real rewards. And these are almost in the intangible. It's not saying you're going to get a golden box full of riches put on your lap, but maybe metaphorically that's sitting there. But only if you continue your discipline and your motivation. If you reject the attempts to dissuade you, it's saying the future's bright. If you keep pushing out the need of things to stop you and not seek deeper knowledge, deeper intuition, deeper truth, you're not going to receive those things. So follow your intuition, and you're headed toward some kind of lasting contentment and success. So there you go. This is saying, if you're not already, incorporate the high priestess. Ignite, turn the on switch on to the high priestess in your life, in yourself, and start uncovering the hidden things. That might be keys to just doing things better, keys to better intuition, keys to gaining wisdom. It might also be, if there's a slight negative to this, it would be something you're already aware of. Not something you maybe, should I be looking for that? No, might be something you're already aware of, which might be hidden things from you, and you need to uncover those. So, does that help? I hope that hits the mark. You say you agree. I'm very spiritual, holistic. People take advantage. Yeah, don't let people take advantage of you. Tell them to shut up. And, the more vernacular, fuck off. People don't need to tell you what to do. It's nice to have advisors. It's nice to have people who advise. You know what an advisor does? It says, hey, I'm going to give you this little bit of advice. This is something you could do, but the decision is yours. It's at your feet. Advice is, you know what I found? Advice from people around us is a dime a dozen. Because, take a weird example. You could go on Facebook and say, I got to go in the doc to check this little thing out, and just letting you all know I'm going to be offline tomorrow because I'm going to go get a test done or something. And you might mention, it has to do with my thyroid. I'm just trying to grab something. I'm going to go get a thyroid test done. Then all of a sudden, everybody in the social media thinks they know how to advise you about how to take care of your thyroid. Well, if you didn't eat this and this and that and did this and that and the other thing, and, your thyroid heals itself if you use, if you go out and eat dirt mixed with sunflower seeds and flush it all down with fresh urine from a dog, that's going to clear up your thyroid problem. I go, really? I didn't know that. Thank you for giving me that advice. That's what happens. Advice, my whole point is advice is a fucking dime a dozen. Look for good advice. There's something that's interesting in the book of Proverbs in the Old Testament. Solomon wrote, he said, the wise person surrounds themselves with a multitude of counselors. Yet when it comes to making the decision, the choice is alone on you. So you can surround yourself with all kinds of advisors and counselors, but you know what? It's up to you to make the decision. So that's where you look at them all and go, fuck off. I'm going to make my decision now. Thank you for your help. I don't need any more medical advice or home remedies. Thank you very much. So there you go. Hopefully that's helpful. Hey, Michael R., how you doing? You're not too late, but we are just about ready to wrap. Good to see you, brother. Mystic Dreamer, you said you never let anyone tell you how to run your life. I'll let you know when you're doing it, too. Who, me? Yeah, you can let me know. I don't want to run anybody's life. And that's the thing. You can take advice from somebody, but that doesn't mean that you're giving them some kind of passport to controlling what you do. Advice is good. Good counsel is good. I don't know. Good teaching is good. It's how you appropriate it and make it work for you. Now, I could give you advice and say, if you light that blowtorch and shoot it at your finger, it's going to burn the tip off your finger down to the first knuckle. So I would advise you to not do that. Now you can go, fuck off. I'm going to do this anyway. I want to experience it. That's your choice. Now, is it control of me to say, if you light that blowtorch, you're going to blow off your fucking fingertip? No, that's not controlling. I may reach out and hold you from doing that. I might pull the thing out of your hand and go, don't do that, you stupid idiot. You're going to burn off your finger. Am I controlling you? Yeah, to a certain extent, but I'm also helping you. So I agree with you on that, Mystic, that there are people who will want to control you by their advice. And none of us wants to be controlled. But there's sometimes advice that comes down the pike that we better damn well listen to, or we're going to hurt ourselves. Because why do you think people gain wisdom in life as they get older? And so they can stand as examples to others. Sometimes good advice takes the form of things we don't want to hear. Yeah, you as in metaphorically. I got that, Mystic. I know that. So there you go. That's all I got to say about that. And Audrey just says, what do we have to look forward this week on my show? Well, this week we're going to continue this series about Christopaganism, where I'm looking at Christianity, how it's made up, looking at paganism. And we're going to wrap this series up in just a few days. So I've been on it for 2 weeks. I think it's important. And I hope those of you who listen to the show every day, that you get an idea of what the content is really all about. Looking at things that I think are good things for us to all think about. Think about if you're Christianized or in Christianity. Think about why you're there. If you're a pagan, think about why you're there. The main thrust behind this whole thing is, why do you believe the things you say you believe? The things you've chosen to believe in. Do you do it by rote? Do you do it because somebody else told you to do it? Do you do it because, I've never done it any differently than this? Or do you stop and think about why you believe what you believe? What's your inner spirituality? That's what we've been talking about. And I don't like to wax so serious all the time in my shows, but I got a lot of serious topics. We did a few shows on the psychology of Captain James T. Kirk and Spock. So you get the idea. We're not always on the hard line seriousness, but I think I like to take that time on radio. If I'm going to do 5 hours of radio a week on my own show, I want to make sure there's something worthwhile that you take out of it. So that's why I do what I do. Why so serious? Says space in water is water. Is that space is water or space S water? Little play on the word there. So, well, thank you, by the way. I rock, says space and water. So there you go. It is water. So thank you, everybody, for listening, for joining in. This was a live stream. I try to do this every Sunday. Keep it to an hour and a half, and we'll be done. We can go in an hour, almost an hour and a half. So it's time. Thanks for taking your Sunday morning to spend with me, whether you're an hour ahead of me and it's almost noon out on the East Coast, or whether you're 2 hours behind me and it's still early in the morning on Sunday. Thanks for being here. And so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut this off. We'll be done. I'll see you tomorrow night on my show, 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, 10 o'clock tomorrow night Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Left Coast Time. And, of course, if you're in the mountains in that weird zone that's in between Central and Pacific Time, you're going to be, what would that be, 8 o'clock in the evening. So join me tomorrow night. See you here. Join me all week. Thanks for being here. And at that, we're done. See you tomorrow. Have a fun day.